Everybody get up, no need to cram now. We got a real jam going down, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. Welcome to the IntelliJAMS.
Alex, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
How's it going, man? So what would you like to jam about on this fine Monday?
So I have a jam. You and I were recently at an offsite. I bought this hat. I want to jam about Shellback Tavern hats.
Oh, damn it, dude. I should have worn my hat. You should have told me. I did. I have a hat. I have not the same hat. Mine's a different color, but I have the same hat. I got one.
We both ended up buying one. It would be better if we were both wearing them. But okay, why do I want to jam on Shellback Tavern hats? Bit of a story here. Bit of a story here.
Tavern hats.
So at our offsite, Seaver on our team knows I'm a hat guy. We started talking about hats, and he's like, "Have you seen this hat?" And it was the Shellback Tavern hat. I'm like, "Oh no." He's like, "Oh dude, this is iconic in the South Bay of LA."
Was he wearing this hat, or was this before we got to the tavern?
Before we got to the bar. Seaver earlier in the offsite was like, "I know you're a hat guy." He wanted to get one of the customer hats that I have. He's like, "Yo, man, can you hook me up with a customer hat?" And he's like, have you seen this hat?" And I was like, "Oh, that's sick. Like, I do like that." And then we ended up at the bar. That was not like on purpose. We ended up at Shellback, Adam and I, and we walk in, and the bar has this like clothesline across the entire bar, full of hats, hundreds and hundreds of hats of different colors.
Yeah. Well, you can't miss the hats. Like, the hats are there for a reason.
Oh yeah.
They draw your attention to them.
And like, apparently it's iconic. Like, people are going to come in here during the day, and like, they're not going to sit down for drinks. They're just going to buy a hat.
Which I didn't realize. So like, I didn't know you guys already had a conversation about the hats. So I was like, one or two beers in and feeling good about, having a good time. And I saw all the hats on the ceiling, and I was like, I want one of those hats.
So you had no backstory. You turned to me, who has the backstory on the hats. Like, I know these hats are iconic. And we look at each other and we're like, should we get hats? And like, obviously we're like, yeah, we should get hats. We're hat people. And immediately your response to should we get hats is like, okay, what's the under? Like, I will buy a hat as long as it's under. And I remember I think you said $20.
Yeah, I think I might have said $25 in that moment, but because sometimes I feel like I'm being taken advantage of when it's like, I know this thing is cheap. And I am, over the weekend, by the way, I went to Disney on Ice, and like a bubble thing at Disney on Ice was $40.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, we probably need to beep that out if we're going to put this on YouTube.
All good. But like, that's the thing, right? It's like, I think what I really want to jam on here is when you don't know a price, you immediately set a threshold for yourself, whether you consciously are aware or it's subconscious, about like, I'd be willing to pay in the ballpark of, and then you get the number and it's like, was it in my ballpark? Over, under, around? Like, yeah, I can probably be persuaded to get the thing. Or I set the ballpark and it is like drastically outside of that, like your bubble wand. Or our head of sales, very sharp dresser, love his shirts. I was like, "Matt, where do you get these shirts from?" Sends me a link. I go to hit it and I'm like, I'd probably be willing to pay like $80 for one of these shirts. And like, I click the link and some of them are like a few $100s. I'm like, okay, that is outside of my bubble. I just closed the site and like, I'm not even considering it. So like everyone is always going to have these the over under line. And like in the hat example, I think it was interesting because like you said 20 to 25. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be 25 because I knew they were like iconic. I was like, if I was these guys, I would jack the price up. Like, it might be $30, even though like, what's this hat cost? It's like $5. You're paying for the brand, right?
Right.
$2, $1, who knows?
I actually expected, like, by me setting, I said, I think a $20 or $25 over under, meaning that that's what I expected it to be. Like, that's what I was willing to pay, by the way. But also, how I valued it, right? Like that was what it was worth to me and what I was willing to pay. And we didn't get to the punchline. Obviously, we both bought hats, so it was under. But like, so we asked, can I finish the story for you?
Yeah, go for it.
So we asked the bartender, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they're $17.80, $17.80 or something."
Yeah, like some weird not round number.
Yeah. First of all, that's like interesting in and of itself. I should have like dug into that more. But it way below what my willingness to pay was. Like they could have been $19.80, and I still would have been excited to buy this hat. And anyway, so it was a great value. I bought the hat. I should have bought two.
And yeah, like I fully expect like it could be, I was like, it's going to be in the range of like $20 to $30. And when it came in at like, hey, it's 17, like I'm going to buy that. But like, it got me thinking about like how this relates to pricing products in general. And like you and I have had multiple jams on like, how do you price a product? But I think like what this was showing me is how you price a product is very dependent on like who you are selling to. And like, what do people know and what's the context they have going in? So again, like I knew that there, like this hat was like a fashion staple in South Bay, LA. So like I probably bumped how much I was willing to pay for it versus if I just walked into that bar and I saw the hats, I'd be like, oh, those are probably $15. And then it would have came in at 17 and I might have bought it still, but I would have been like over what I was anticipating. But I had all this additional information that actually changed what my kind of like ballpark price was going to be.
And actually, an interesting point that you're making, it was clear to the bartender that I was unfamiliar with the hat because I was like, "Oh, these are really cool hats." Like, and he was like, "Yeah, I know they're fucking." Sorry, I don't know why I'm swearing so much. I know they're cool hats, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." And I asked him how much they were, and I was 17. And I was like, "Great." And so I asked him, I was like, "Oh, do a lot of people buy the hats?" And he was offended by that question. He was like, "Yeah, I've sold 350 hats already today." And like, that is in and of itself wild that like they are probably making more money at this bar selling hats than alcohol. But also what he said was very interesting, which was like, there was two groups of like 30 or 40 people where like, my guess is there were a handful, 2, 3, 5 people in that group that knew these hats were iconic. And the rest of the people were just along for the ride. And he said that all 40 people in the group bought a hat. And so for the like long tail of people who actually don't care and aren't willing to pay the premium because they know it's an iconic hat, their over under, like you said, might have been 15. And so like by pricing it at 35, there probably would have been the people like you who might have been willing to have it because you want that iconic hat. But the party bus of people that were kind of tagging along and participating in it, their over under might have been, 15, 17. And so they actually probably sell way more, like maybe by an order of magnitude, hats at 17 than they would at, 25 or 35, where maybe some people would be willing to pay.
I think where this is going is like pricing as it pertains to brand and like credibility and like there's so many factors at play when it comes to price. And I think we've talked like you and I have jammed before on like science versus art. And like there's definitely a science to like price elasticity curves. But like one thing we have kind of hit on a lot in recent episodes is like dig into things and like figure out like pockets and segments. And I think like this is something is like, are you pricing to people who value the brand or are you pricing to people who see it as a commodity?
Mm-hmm.
It's a hat.
It's a hat.
People that come in. But Seaver had hyped it up. It's a snapback trucker hat, but Seaver had pumped me up going into that bar to view it as way more than a snapback trucker hat.
Yeah.
And to your point with like that bus coming in is like, there is value to people like hyping something up and like something becoming popular. And I know like we can probably boil this down to like supply and demand, right? Like, hey, drive the demand up. I can charge a higher price for it. Demand comes down. I can't charge as much. But even like the thing I want to hit on for people listening here is like, as you're thinking about price, think about like the interactions that brought someone in for that product and how that relates to price. And like, I
Yeah.
know that this is a crazy story, but what about someone coming in from an event you ran? You sell running shoes and people are buying at the New York City Marathon. Like, it's the people and there's like hype built up around it versus someone who's like, I need shoes to stand in. Like, it's just shoes. So like,
Yeah.
where they come in from, like, is it a paid channel? And like, as you start to expand your market, you're going to get further and further away from like that person who understands the hype of the brand. Like, that swells slowly, sometimes faster. Like, you can become a fad, something can happen and it can increase it, but like, that impacts price.
Yeah. Price is a feature, and people have a price that they're willing to pay. I'm currently wearing a new pair of Kizik's. I went to the Kizik's store when I was like in the mall, and I, walking into the store, said an over-under of $75. Turned out Kizik's are not $75. They're like $115. That was way too much, and I didn't buy one. I walked out of the store. Black Friday came around. They were on sale. I got these for $65. That was within what I was willing to pay for. And so I think also people have a price that they're willing to pay. I'm wearing shoes. I did not want to spend $115 on shoes. I was happy to spend $75 and I ended up paying $65. And so that was sort of what got me to convert. So everyone has a price too.
Yeah, and like, I guess last point on this, I forget where I originally heard this, but there's this like, the TLDR is someone's like, hey, how do you sell ice cream? Like, what is the thing you want to make your ice cream like super appealing? And people were like, oh, like free range milk and like all these things. And then the
Hot
guy's
temperatures?
like, yeah. And then the guy's like, you know what I want? I want a hot summer day. Like, that's how I'm going to sell my ice cream. It's like, it's not the features. It's like, it's the whole ecosystem around it. So everyone's going to like, I think TLDR of what we're saying is everyone has either a conscious or subconscious price they're willing to pay. Even in your bubble wand example, I bet you knew that bubble wand cost $2. In the moment for Disney on Ice, you're probably like, I'm willing to pay an insane markup for this. I'll probably pay $15-$20. Then it comes in at 45 and you're like, excuse me? Like, no way I'm paying 45. But like, everyone has a different tolerance, and the pricing fits in. You paid it? Okay.
Oh yeah, I paid it. Oh gosh. You think I was going to tell my 3-year-old at Disney on Ice that he couldn't have the bubble wand? Absolutely not.
So here's a good Disney hack for everyone. I am Disney obsessed. My son, when he was really young, was like looking at the bubble wands, and I knew as I took him as he got older, he was going to want one. So I went to Target and bought like a Mickey Mouse bubble wand and brought it into the parks and gave it to him, so I didn't have to spend $45 on the bubble wand.
There you go.
I gave him the excitement ahead of time.
That's a hack. That's that's a Disney pro. Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. All right, everyone. Think of like, as you're listening to this, let us know in the comments, like, is there something that you've been shocked about or pleasantly surprised about as you have like thought about what that, we've been calling it over-unders, pricing threshold, whatever you want to call it. Something where you've been like wildly disappointed or like thrilled that it was nowhere near that threshold that you set.
I'd love to see it in the comments.